Now, there's a lot of things you could buy from just anyone. Buy stuff on Amazon, and you can get a, super cheapo, made in China kind of thing. Just make sure it looks right. And I didn't trust that. They had some $30, $40 ones, but I paid $85 for my new one here. And what sold me on it on eBay was this sticker, which is exactly like you see on the original part. That makes me assume it is an original part as well. And that made me think, well, the first one ran for the first several years I've lived here. This one will probably run until I move out. Whereas a real cheap junk one, maybe it will. Maybe it'll run for years. Maybe it will last until this place is gone. Maybe it'll last until the middle of January when I really, really, really want the furnace to work. Here's something important. Before you go installing this thing, I don't trust anything. So I tested it. I did it already, but we'll do it again for the camera. What you want to do is just plug it into the wires. Can you see down the hole? Let's look in the biscuit end. You can see a fan blade in there. All right. Well, to test it, all I did was hooked it up like that, turned it on. And you can see in just a second, there it starts to blow the fan. So it functions. Now, someone in another video about this, who did not actually show replacing it, suggested that you should mark these wires so you hook the right one back up to the right side. And that's not a bad idea. But this is AC power. It's not like DC, where there's a plus and a minus. With this, I didn't line my flag up very good. With AC power, both sides are plus and minus back and forth with a sine wave. At the top, it's 120 plus, passes through 0, and at the bottom, it's 120 minus, passes through 0, and it goes back and forth like that in a waveform. The way they are here, we turn it on. It blows air out. Turn it back off. And I will reverse the wires. There, you saw that I reversed them. Turn it on again. Bum, bum, bum. It blows air out. It really doesn't matter all that much which way you hook it up. Although it's still a good idea to mark it since they are the same color wire. Just for... there's no point in it. Another thing I did was when I first tested it like that, first plugged it in, it made an awful racket. So, using your 8mm, I tightened down this one, and this one, and this one, which hold the frame of the fan inside the metal tube. I said, well, that could be vibrating and making a racket. But I also took a 9mm and tightened up these two that hold the motor to that bracket. And that quieted it right down. You heard it didn't make hardly any noise. Whereas to begin with, it made an awful racket. Let me look here. Okay, there's the motor. And above it, you see a big empty space where the pipe should go and connect up here. And to install it, we figure out which is this end with the sticky goo. sticky goo end. Appears to be this end. And we stick that on first. Just like that. No, we don't. First, what we need to do, let's get that thing down as far as possible to give as much room as possible, as much clearance. And then we line up our pipe at the top. Okay, we line our pipe up at the top in the notch where it's supposed to be. Down here at the bottom, I've got it just kind of hanging on there. As you can see from the side, I just stuck the edge of it on there so it'd hold so you could look. Pardon the washing machine being in the way. And then we will just slide that on there and pull this sucker up so that everything is in place. Give it a little wiggle. And this combustion chamber inlet place down here at the bottom should line up easy peasy. And at that point, we just start putting some screws back. We will now put in those screws. Now, for this, you will also want to kind of examine your gasket. Mine actually does not look damaged. Let me get a screw ready. I'll have to move the camera just a smidge so that I can get in here. Oh, we're still pointed pretty good. All right. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to shove the pipe and junk up in the air with one hand, rotate this thing around with the other hand, and hold it in place, and then stick a screw in. So. Having a hard time getting any good leverage here because of a tripod in the way. I hate to say. The T-handle out of there. It's too bad. Right now would be a good time to be left-handed or have an assistant. Now, again, I'm not tightening this down super tight. or any of these others at this point. They need to have a little bit of slop in them to help, to help the next one line up. That one went in very easy. And you probably can't hear it because it's a very soft little noise, but I could hear that fiber, maybe asbestos gasket compressing as that one went in. And now I don't know if the camera's lined up. Trade the T-handle for the ratchet, because I just don't have any room here. That was the hardest part of it, realigning this thing with the bolt holes. That would have been a good time to have had a helper. And they wouldn't have had to really do anything except lift the pipe and this booster motor straight up, so that I didn't have to, so that when I turned it and lined it up with them, I could just hold it and crank it in instead of having to apply an upward torque at the same time. I did it. If you have to do it by yourself, you can do it too. But if you're a dad, it's a perfect opportunity to make the kid help, and then you can yell at them when they're messing stuff up. Because that's a vital part of every young person's growing up period, is helping dad, holding the flashlight, learning profanities. And look how easy that sucker goes in now. And I will tighten them up. You don't want a loose seal, or you're going to die from gas escaping and burning your house down, or carbon monoxide escaping and asphyxiating everyone. But it's sheet metal, so you don't want to try and torque it down too hard, or you'll strip them screw holes. And if you do that, boy, I think you're pretty much screwed then. Let me get right in front of the camera again here. Do this right-handed where I can get better leverage without applying too much power. Because seriously, you strip one of these suckers out, you are gonna regret it. I can assure you of that. Ugh. We got the bottom part bolted in. We got our everything hooked back up from the pipe on down. And I will have to go to the hardware store and buy some goopy stuff for that top part. But that's where it sucks air in, not where it blows air out. So worst it's going to do is suck in a little bit of room air. And that's not a problem. And at this point, we will hook our hoses back up. Now, one thing I noticed was this bottom hose fits very loosely on here. I mean, look at that. It just on and off like nobody's business. So I have a secret trick for that. How much difference that would actually make, I don't know. But it may suck in some non-pressurized air. That pressure may bleed past the hose. So what I've got here is a bread tie. And I'm just going to do the bread tie up super tight. It still comes off there fairly easy, but it's tighter than it was. Carefully maneuver it down toward the end so it actually, see? Oh, it's, you know, much firmer to press it on there now. So open that valve back up. All right, now, wires are plugged in, hoses are hooked up, these wires are plugged in, everything should be good to go. Let me turn off my light here. All we've got is my headlamp and power switch. That's how that motor's supposed to sound. A gradual whine and then come on. And inside that hole there, we will soon see fire. Although it may take it a second. Come on, fire. Come on, fire. Oh, there's an orange glow. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Light up right. You used to hear it go, boom. Oh, there it goes. And there you are, ladies and gentlemen. You have fixed your furnace. Now all you got to do is put the cover back on. Not a big deal. In a few minutes that blower's going to kick in. But yeah, you'll notice there's no fire whooshing out around the edges or anything like that. I don't feel any airflow. And there goes the blower. Boy, it's going to. Turn that off. But yeah, there you go. That's it. Thank you and good night.